Now we cannot override cookies using a cookie superglobal, but we can print values, echo value, or return values from this cookie using this approach. So if I, let's say, want the value associated with the name cookie, let's simply echo that, and I'm just going to comment this array printing here above this echo statement. And if we preview it now in the browser, obviously we need to go to the homepage, which is index.php, and there we go. My name is now echoed in a browser, just basically using this obviously index array kind of retrieval of the value from the cookie superglobal. If I do the same with the school, the same thing will happen. So if we refresh it, and there we go, SSD tutorials. So that's how you would get values from the cookies. Another thing is basically removing the cookies. How would you remove the cookie? We've got the set cookie to setting it up, and what do we use to basically reset it, to remove it from the cookie file? Well, you still use the same function. The only difference is the time for the specific cookie needs to be in the past. So the easiest way to do it would be time minus, let's say, 3600 seconds, which gives us 1 hour before. So if we now do it this way, I'm going to remove this echo statement, and I'm going to uncomment this line here. So the first thing, if we go back to the browser, we refresh the page, we still have the cookie, but now that we reloaded the page, the cookie has been removed. So if we refresh the page now, there we go, there's no cookies for this domain. We've removed both of them by simply setting up the negative time for the third argument. Let's now quickly change this time, third argument for both of these cookies, to expire in 1 hour. So we're setting the cookies again the same way as we did before. The only thing is we are setting it to expire in 1 hour. And now one important thing, every time we're going to reload this page, the cookie will be overwritten for this domain for this specific index. So rather than creating obviously another index with name, it will simply override the existing one. So let's quickly have a look at this. I've saved the file. If we quickly have a look at the browser, I refresh the page. The first time that it read the file, obviously from the computer, there wasn't any cookie for this domain. Now that we obviously refresh the page once, if we refresh it again, now it's reading the cookies which we saved with the first load of the page. And obviously they are here. If we go to the preferences, we look at the privacy and then remove individual cookies. So if we have a look at this PHP course one, we have name, as you can see, 222247. If I now close it, 222247. If I refresh the page and we try the same thing, go PHP course name 222308. As you can see, the same cookies, we have name and school, but they are now obviously overwritten with the new expiry time, because every time we're going to refresh this page, because of this code, this set cookie function which we have in this file, it's going to override them and give them the new expiry date. So that's how we actually can override the cookies. If we go back to our editor, we can obviously do something like this as well. I can just paste it underneath and change it to something completely different, so some other name, but obviously there's no point in doing this. There's obviously no need for that, because if I want to set it to anything else, I would straight away do it here. So obviously this one is always going to be overwritten. It's never going to be set, obviously, because this following line here is going to overwrite it straight away. So if we now save it, we go to our browser, refresh the page. Obviously the first time we read the previous value. Now if I refresh the page, obviously the name is set to this second one. So let's go back to the editor. I want to show you another thing which I told you I'm going to show you. As we read, we shouldn't be using the set cookie function after any output to the browser. That means if I have any text, anything that goes and it's going to be displayed in a browser. Let's say I'm going to something goes here. See what's going to happen. If I'm just going to save the file and preview it in the browser, refresh the page, and there we go. The something goes here has been displayed in the browser, but then we have the warning basically cannot modify header information. Headers already sent by output and blah, 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 blah. Basically, what that means is that whenever you are using set cookie, and the same thing will apply to a few functions when we're going to be talking about session superglobal, they have to be basically used before anything is sent to the browser. So we can put some text here after this. Let's say we can do let's say HTML and so on, but we cannot do it before this function is called. So if we now go back to the browser, refresh, everything's fine, as you can see. There are no warnings, no nothing. So this was the other thing that I promised that I'm going to show you how it works. So remember, set cookie always has to be set before we output anything to the browser. If I was about to echo here anything, that's going to cause problem as well. So say something goes here, because I'm echoing this, I'm returning something I'm sending something to the browser and then setting this set cookie. If I go back to the browser, refresh the page, you can see it's exactly the same problem. So anything that goes to the browser, make sure that this set cookie is basically used before that. The exact same thing goes for the white space character. If I just create one space character basically before this PHP tag, and if we save it, preview it in a browser, refresh the page, obviously the previous sentence is now gone, but as you can see we still get the warning. If we go back and rather than space, let's create a new line, save it, preview it in the browser, exactly same thing. We still have a problem. Obviously this warning is telling us exactly same story. So if we go back, remove this new line, save it, preview it in the browser, refresh, everything's fine now. So to finish with this lesson, let's quickly do a quick summary of what we've learned about the cookie superglobal. First of all, cookie is stored on visitor's hard drive, so make sure no sensitive information is saved into a cookie. To set the cookie, we're using a set cookie function with the time in the future. To remove the cookie, we also use the same function, but this time we're making sure that the time is in the past by simply deducting the time from the current time. You can also use a make time function, so it's mk time. Please feel free to look at the specification for this specific function on php.net. As you can see, it prompts me for hour, then we have minutes, and so there are quite a few arguments here. But the mk time basically allows you to specify the precise time, date and time when you want this cookie to expire, basically using this function. So to get the value from the cookie, using the cookie super global, so we simply use echo, then cookie, and the name of the cookie, for instance name, or we can obviously use school as well for this specific domain. And the last thing, obviously make sure that there are no white spaces or any other characters, basically no output to the browser prior to this set cookie function being called.